Book for Girls, a frog suit heroine who saves the day. Adventure stories for kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Introduction. Rana is a girl with pink shorts, a funny hairdo, and a cute way of handling things. One day, she discovers a hat that gives her superpowers that go along with the Spanish meaning of her name. Rana means frog. She soon finds out that her superpowers are not just fun, but also come with some responsibility. Suddenly, she reaches new depths in her inner soul when she stands face to face with the worst criminals in the city. Read or listen to the story of Rana, her own account of what happened, and how she helped others with her newfound power. Chapter 1. The Play. My name is Rana. I am a 12-year-old girl, and I am going to write down what happened when I found my superpowers. It's quite the story, so let's see. Where did it start again? Oh yes, it actually started with a play. Our class had been preparing all week for a play. It was about the animals in the forest, and I was going to be a frog. When the play began, I was behind the stage looking in the mirror. The teacher came by and patted me on the back, saying that I looked cute. I had a frog costume. It was green, had 2 eyes on the head, and a yellow belly. I wasn't sure if that was correct, or if it should have been a white belly, but for now my performance was all that mattered. I was up next. I felt my heart beating faster. My parents were in the crowd. They were all watching, dozens of people who were going to laugh if I made a mistake. I was nervous, but I was determined to do it. "Go ahead, Rana," the teacher said. She gave me a little push, and I jumped onto the stage like a frog. "Ribbit, ribbit," I said. A lot of people were smiling. "A frog?" one of the girls in the play asked as part of the play. "You don't want to turn me into a frog like that one there, do you? It's so ugly." Everyone who was watching laughed. Then it was my turn to jump around. "And they jump so high," the girl added. I kept jumping and saying "ribbit" several times. After a few jumps, though, my foot got stuck in a loop on the floor. The rope quickly formed around my ankle and made me trip. Thud! I fell on the floor. Everybody laughed again. They probably thought it was part of the play. But I wasn't happy. I was stuck. As I looked at it, I made attempts to pull my foot out of the loop, but the harder I pulled, the worse it got. And then the worst thing of the evening happened. Apparently the rope was attached to the curtain, so when I kept pulling, I pulled down the curtain. The entire curtain came down and the show was over. Some children were behind it on the stage, waving to their parents. Other children ran away, and I think I even saw a child in his underwear quickly hiding when the curtain revealed him to the crowd. I looked at my parents. They looked like they felt sorry for me. I ran back behind the stage and took my frog costume off. The teacher assured me it wasn't my fault, but I still felt bad. When I met up with my parents, they asked me how I was. "I don't know," I said. "I hate frogs. Why do they have to jump around all the time? That's what got me into trouble." "But frogs are very intelligent creatures," Mom said. "Oh yeah? How?" "Well, for one, they catch flies with their tongues very fast. That requires some skill." "Yes," my dad added. "And because they can jump so high and swim so well, they are difficult to catch." "That sounds cool," I said. "I think I like frogs then. I wish I could do all those things too." "That's okay, honey," my mom said. "You don't have to do those things. We love you for who you are. You're our joy." "Thanks, Mom." When we came home, we ate eggs and corn on the cob. It was delicious. Since I was an only child, my parents were often very lenient. It wasn't late yet, so I asked if I could go to the forest on my own. "As long as you're back in an hour," my mom said. "And be careful. Don't talk to strangers." "No problem, Mom," I answered as I ran out the door, putting my green jacket on. The forest wasn't far from our home. Maybe that's why my mom wasn't worried. I speedily ran over there and looked around. I smelled the fresh air and headed towards the coast. Did I mention there was a lake nearby? It was beautiful. It was so big that you couldn't even see the end of it. You could certainly see the sunlight glistering on the surface, but the best part of it was that there were fish, frogs, dogs, and dragonflies. I often tried to catch fish, but they were too easy. Dumb creatures. Frogs, however, always leaped away. They jumped super high. So cool. Chapter 2. Finding It. In the distance, somewhere in the lake, I saw something weird. I didn't know what it was, but I hadn't seen it there before, despite the fact that I came here almost every day. I squinted my eyes and tried to see it again. Not clear. I want to know what it is, I said to myself. I looked at my clothes, then I looked around. I didn't have a bathing suit, so I just jumped into the lake with my clothes on. I had learned to swim in school, and they often emphasized how important it was to be able to swim with clothes on, because you never know when there will be a flood, they always said. The water was cold, so I shivered a little bit, but I didn't mind it. I was just too curious to find out what was on that island. I had seen something, and I knew it. I came closer and closer. I was surprised how far it was. It looked a lot closer when I was standing on the shore, but perhaps I was just too slow. I have to admit that even though I knew how, I still didn't make much progress. I was determined. I must know, I told myself, encouraging my body to keep going. Eventually, I reached the island and was happy to find solid ground underneath my feet. I stood up and panted a little. Then I looked into the direction of the object I had seen. Wow, I said as I came closer. It's a hat. I bent over and picked it up. It almost looked like the hat I had in the play, like a frog's head. I put it on and felt something weird. Chapter 3. Supergirl. Something was wrong with me. Well, something was better with me. I felt so much energy, it was amazing. But what was I able to do with it? I had no clue. Then I saw a bush with berries. Oh, yummy! Berries, I said. But before I knew it, I had already stuck out my tongue and eaten one of the berries. Whoa, I said as I stepped back. I was surprised. I didn't know my tongue could reach that far. I had just eaten a berry from 10 feet away. Wow! I tried it again, sticking out my tongue at another berry. Bloop! The berry vanished into my mouth. That was delicious. I wondered if it was because of the mysterious hat. So I took it off and tried to eat another berry again from this far away. I stuck my tongue out, but all I felt was the wind blowing against it. Nothing. It didn't work like this. It was the hat. It had to be. I put the hat back on and, yes, I ate another berry from the same distance. This one tasted even better. This is awesome, I exclaimed. This is sweet. I wonder what else I can do with this. I looked at the other side of the lake from which I came. Time to go back. But when I jumped into the water, gravity didn't seem to do anything against me because I jumped 100 feet high into the sky. I felt the wind stroke my face and my hat as I soared above the island and the water. Whoa! I yelled. That was fun, but now for the landing. Splash! I landed in the water. That must have been a record, having a splash this big. As I swam back up, I noticed that, strangely enough, I wasn't having a hard time breathing. Could I breathe underwater? That would be pretty powerful. I tried it. I stayed underwater. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Nothing was happening. I didn't choke. I didn't feel dizzy. Nothing. I could breathe underwater. Ah! So much fun! Making use of my newfound power, I swam around and went deeper and deeper. I saw some plants at the bottom of the lake and even came across some frogs and fish. I didn't know there was so much life down there. It was my own world, my own sense of being away from the surface and from the city. After swimming around for a little longer, I went back to the forest. I jumped out of the water and looked at the trees in front of me. Would I be able to do it? 3, 2, 1. Let's go! I leaped over dozens of trees and landed in one of the treetops. From there, I jumped up again, seeing a surprised bird fly by as I was high above the ground. This was the easiest and fastest way to get home for sure. When I arrived at my house and went inside, my mom wasn't too happy with me being wet. With that being said, I also have to mention how much of my clothes already dried up because of the wind while jumping through the air, but she could still sense it. "What were you doing, Rana?" she asked. "Swimming, Mom, swimming." "And what is that hat?" "The best that's ever happened to me," I answered. I didn't talk to her anymore. I took a shower, ate some dinner, and went to my room. I was pretty tired, and my mother didn't bother me about it anymore. She thought I had just found a regular hat, and she was happy for me. Little did she know how amazing this hat actually was, perhaps especially the fact that it stayed on and wouldn't fall off unless I physically grabbed it and took it off. What a great discovery! Chapter 4. Riffraff. In my exuberance, I didn't understand the opportunities ahead of me. My new superpowers granted me the wish to have fun and do things other people couldn't do. But it also came with responsibility, even though I was still so young. I soon realized why. My friend's name was Sarah. She was sweet and innocent. Like me, she was 12 years old, and sometimes I thought her parents were a little overprotective. It seemed like she couldn't see through people's smiles, figure out their intentions, or look at the bigger picture. I am telling you this because she got herself in a situation she ended up in exactly because of her naive way of thinking. It was a school day. I had the mysterious frog hat with me, but I had put it into my backpack just in case I might need it. When school was over, I walked out the door and saw Sarah walking in the other direction. A black van pulled over and opened the slide door. A man with sunglasses stepped out and talked to her. Typical classic movie scenario. I didn't trust it. I squinted my eyes and looked at the shady figure in the blue suit who was hiding his eyes behind those glasses. Before I knew it, he bent over, took a piece of candy, and handed it to Sarah. My friend smiled. She was happy to receive such a generous gift. The man in the suit took her inside the van without force and closed the door. "What? Accepting candy from a stranger? Sarah, what are you doing? Bad idea. How do you know you can trust those guys?" I panicked in my mind, but I wasn't going to let them get away with this. Should I warn the principal? No, then it would be too late. Calling the cops wouldn't do much good either at this time, especially since I didn't even have a phone with me. I was going to do it. I just had to. I pulled out the frog hat and ran behind the school, making sure that nobody would see the effects of it. I didn't want to reveal its powers yet. I didn't know when I would, but not now. Right now, I just wanted to save Sarah. I put the hat on my head and felt its power again. Whoosh! A sudden rush of adrenaline entered my veins. I felt the power I had felt the previous day and got ready for my first jump. Then I leaped up and flew high above the city homes, checking out the view and spotting the black van. I landed, jumped again, and kept track of it. I even had to hold back a little because I was making more progress than the van, which was driving more than 60 miles per hour, breaking the city's speed limit. After a while, I saw the van pull into an old warehouse in the industrial terrain on the outskirts of town. That riffraff! What were they going to do with Sarah? Chapter 5. Taken. I jumped to the side of the warehouse, hiding behind some crates and barrels. I tried not to be seen and still overhear their conversation. "Tie her up," one of the men said. "We don't want our ticket to financial freedom to go anywhere." Let me go, Sarah said while struggling to get loose. "Shut up, kid," the man with the sunglasses said. "Your mommy and daddy are willing to pay good money for you, but only if we keep you alive." "You guys are so mean," Sarah said. "Yeah, well, so is life. Cry me a river. Welcome to the real world." The other two men, I counted 3 in total, all wearing suits, tied Sarah to a chair with a rope. She stopped struggling because these men were a lot stronger anyway. She sensed it was useless to resist. The boss, at least the one I assumed to be, took out a cell phone and started talking on the phone after dialing a number.
Why would you care to lose $1 million or two? You are filthy rich. Don't you think the life of your cute little daughter here is worth a small sum of money? 2:00 tomorrow afternoon. I want it in cash. I will not change the deadline, so don't even try to negotiate with me. Tomorrow at 2. Got that? Good.
Then he hung up. These criminals were trying to get the ransom for Sarah they didn't deserve. I would show them what they deserved. Ha! I ran from behind the barrels and crates and spoke up. "Let her go, you jerks," I said. The man with the cell phone turned around.
And who are you?
He asked. "I am her friend. Let her go or you'll face the consequences." He laughed.
Ha ha ha. You're just a kid. You can't stop us.
"Just wait. Don't test me," I said with a confidence I had never known before.
Well, how about this?
The guy said as he pulled a gun from his pocket.
How about you join her, little girl? We'll take care of your frog hat, and your parents can pay up for you as well. Do your parents have a lot of money?
"More than you'll ever have when you go to prison," I said.
Ha ha, you're funny, little missy. Okay, the joke is over. Get over here or I will shoot you.
"You won't be able to," I said.
Ha ha, this kid cracks me up,
he said as he beckoned the other two to laugh as well.
What are you going to do? Stick out your frog tongue and snatch my gun away? Ha ha ha.
Exactly.
What?
But before he could say another word, I stuck out my tongue and snatched the gun from his hands. Then I threw it into his face.
Ouch,
he said as he got knocked out. The others looked astonished at their unconscious criminal partner. Then they looked at me and pulled out their guns as well. But before they could do anything, the same fate befell them. I stuck out my tongue, with which I grabbed both guns one by one and smashed them into their faces before they could fire a shot. Knockout, both of them. Sarah looked at me. She wasn't sure if she should be scared or excited. Then she suddenly shouted, "Yay, you did it! Wow!" I moved closer and untied her. "How did you do that, Rana? Are you a frog girl? A super frog?" "Something like that," I said as I smiled. "That was awesome. Unbelievable. Can you do it again? It looked so cool." "I can do something better," I said. "Let's get you home." "What are we going to do?" "Wait a minute. Let me call the police first." I took the cell phone, dialed the emergency number, and got put through. I quickly explained the situation, described the location, and hung up. The police would soon be there to arrest these three. Then I walked to Sarah, put my arm around her, and said, "Hold on tightly." "Okay." I got ready, aimed, and jumped into the air as high as I could. "Whee!" Sarah said joyfully. After a few big jumps, I landed in front of her house and dropped her off. She thanked me, and I warned her to not accept candy from strangers in the future. Then she went inside and probably told her mom all about it. That was that.
Chapter 6, Emergency.
The next day was another challenge. They were complete different circumstances, and at first I wondered if I was even able to do anything against it, but I still gave it a try. It all started with a news report on TV. My mom put her hands on her cheeks and said, "Oh, how awful. Look, honey, look at what's happening." My dad came to the TV and put his hand on his mouth.
"Oh my goodness,"
he said in disbelief.
"Can't they do anything?"
I got curious. "Mom, what is it?" I asked as I stepped into the room. "I don't know what's going to happen," she said. "Look, that airplane has lost control. It's weird and it's terrible. It's flying straight at the skyscrapers in the downtown area of our city. If it hits a building, there is no way of telling how much damage it will inflict, how many people would die or get hurt." "Wow," I said. "Sounds terrible indeed." Then I thought of something. Perhaps I could prevent this impending doom. Perhaps my frog hat could help me stop this possible disaster. Rana, where are you going? My mother asked. Out to play, I said as I ran out the door with my hat. Behind the house, I didn't hesitate and put on my hat. Then I jumped up as high as I could. This was going to be the biggest challenge I had ever faced in life. Was I capable of changing the course of an airplane with this hat? Time would tell. I leaped up way above the houses into the direction of the downtown area. The skyscrapers were visible from far away, waiting on the horizon to be destroyed by the airplane. I jumped again, covering a distance of several miles this time. Again and again I jumped until I reached the city center. I looked up, scanning the sky for the uncontrollable airplane. It wasn't too late yet. It was still there, far away, and I saw a lot of people on the streets looking at it. It was coming straight at us. Some people were already running away, and others just watched, not certain if it would really hit one of the buildings. It was just a speck in the distance, but its course was predicted to have a major, catastrophic impact here, so I didn't know why not everybody left this area. Maybe they couldn't. There were traffic jams anyway. It was mayhem. The city sounds were chaotic. Horns were being pressed, people were bumping into each other or tripping, and others were pointing to the airplane in the distance. This was it. This was my moment. Nobody had seen me jump yet, despite the fact that I only landed 2 blocks away from the busy street. The moment of truth was here. I had to do this. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes, ignoring the hustle and bustle of the crowds. Then I opened my eyes and went for it. Chapter 7. Saving Everyone. Rana will rescue you, I said. Then I leaped up, hundreds of feet high, and landed on top of an office building. It was gigantic. It was one of the tallest buildings in town. I am sure many people on the streets were amazed at my abilities, or just bedazzled at what just happened. A little girl with a frog hat jumping onto a skyscraper. But I didn't care. I didn't even notice them anymore. I was on top of the building now, and that was all that mattered. I looked down and realized how high it was, almost getting a little dizzy. I wasn't that afraid of heights, but this was actually a little scary. I didn't want to waste my time enjoying the view, so I pointed my gaze towards the approaching airplane. I focused on it for 20 seconds and understood that it had to be closer to do anything about it. Meanwhile, I did notice some people staring at me and taking pictures from another office building across the street. They were all lined up against the window to observe this strange phenomenon. It was the show of their lives, but it would become even more spectacular. I waited and watched as the airplane became visible and approached a threatening distance to the skyscraper I was standing on. I focused again. I put all the concentration I had in me to aim accurately. Then I jumped. I jumped higher than ever before and aimed my landing. Bong! I landed on the airplane, trying to resist the fast wind coming at me while holding onto it. With the same focus, I shifted my alertness to my tongue and aimed. Then I stuck out my tongue and attached it to the airplane, a little distance behind the cockpit, wrapping it around the moving, flying object. I screamed as I pulled with all my might. Slowly but certainly, I averted the airplane from its original course. It moved up and up and up, missing the highest skyscraper by about 30 feet. Whoosh! The airplane's wind caused a few windows to break, but nothing more serious than that. The airplane flew on, and as I looked down below, I thought I saw some people cheer, even though I couldn't hear them with all the noise around me. Now the airplane. What was I going to do with it? I was slowly losing my grip, especially with my long frog tongue. I held on for a little longer, but eventually I had to let go. My tongue came back into my mouth, and I held on for life with my hands. I can't hold on any longer, I said, not talking to anyone in particular. Suddenly, my strength failed me. I let go and fell down, speeding through the air. I tried to keep my eyes open despite the wind that was in my face. I had to concentrate. The landing was not going to be easy, not even with my magical frog hat. I kept focusing as I saw the ground come closer and closer, then bam! I landed with 2 feet on the ground, bending my knees, looking down and holding onto the ground with one hand after landing. I saw the cracks in the pavement around me. My landing was so powerful that it had cracked the ground. Wow! I stood up. People were scared. They were staring at me in bewilderment, but I was still in survival mode. I looked at the airplane, and to my surprise, it just kept flying up until it became a tiny dot again and disappeared. Good, I mumbled, as I assumed the pilots had taken control over the plane again. I looked around me. Some people were taking pictures, but I wasn't going to stick around. I smiled for the camera, turned, and asked them to take a picture of my good side, posing like a super heroine. Then I jumped up and left, on my way home. Chapter 8. Home. When I was back in my home's neighborhood, I took off the hat and went inside. "Mom, I'm home!" I shouted. My parents were still looking at the TV. I guess the news hadn't caught up yet, and they were still wondering what just had happened. "Rana," she said, "this is crazy. Look, that little girl has exactly the same hat as you do. She just saved the city by turning the airplane into a different direction." She pointed at the TV and made me watch the amazing news flash. I pretended to look impressed when I saw a little dot jump up, land on the airplane, and somehow turn the airplane away from the skyscraper. The footage wasn't great, but at least you could see what was going on. "What a coincidence," I said. "I wonder if anyone got a close-up so we will recognize who it is." My mom nodded. "That girl is really brave," she said. "If I were her mother, I would be so proud of her."
"Pretty courageous,"
my dad added.
"especially for someone her age. She must not be that old, maybe 12 or 13 years old, looking at the images here."
"Thanks," I said. "For what?" Mom asked. Well... However, before I could tell them that I was the little girl with the frog hat on TV, the doorbell rang. My dad walked to the front door and opened up.
"Honey,"
he yelled after a minute or two,
"these people are journalists. They want to interview our daughter."
My mom looked at me with big eyes. I smiled and winked at her. Then she suddenly saw the footage on TV someone had turned in after I had landed on the ground in the downtown area. The same smile from the heroic little girl on TV ornamented my face as I was standing in front of it. I wish I could describe her reaction when she realized that her daughter saved the city, but I think you can probably imagine it yourself, with the hug and the tears and stuff. Anyway, the journalists were let in, and my life was never the same after that. I was the city's savior. I was Rana, the girl with the magical frog hat.
The end. This has been Book for Girls, a frog suit heroine who saves the day. Adventure stories for kids. Written by Jeff Child. Narrated by John H. Feskins. Copyright 2017 by Jeff Child. Production copyright 2017 by Jeff Child.